All right then, let's get back into it. So it's Friday, end of the week, and I took another trade today. I went short, and mainly what I'm gonna go through today is my use of AI and my thoughts on how I can use it to implement or improve my trading strategies and my management, my decisions, and all of that relevant stuff. So, disclaimer obviously, this is very early doors. I've only used it 2 days in a row. Um, but from what I've seen from it and the inputs that I've put into it, I am I'm liking I'm definitely liking the extra opinion and like the what's the word? Not formulaic, but like just like the logical approach that it takes when, I present a trade idea and, possibilities that I'm thinking of with my personal knowledge. And it also provides me extra information that I wouldn't possibly have considered, or stuff that I didn't actually know beforehand in terms of price action, potential times or movements for sweeps, or the different types of legs, whether it's accumulation, manipulation, or distribution between sessions. Um, and yeah, so I'm gonna go over to today's trade, and this one got stopped early. Again, it was stopped on a trail, but uh, so the first take profit was this line. So I'm just gonna quickly map out the different lines that I've drawn here. So basically, this orange line is where I trailed the stop. This line here is obviously my trade one partial and my initial target, take profit two, with the final move on the trade being previous daily low. And this was this line here was a zone that I was looking at, or a swing high that I was looking at as, uh, an area where I wanted to see price reject and break down from. That then ultimately influenced my decision to go short today. And this level here was a break zone that I wanted to see if I wanted to go long. So if price had traded up above this with a clear market structure shift, I would have been then looking to go long. So going into today, it was a bit unclear, like the actual bias. So this is why I opted to use AI again, and I'll get into why. So the reasons for my unclear bias at first, right? So bullish side, we still have this 4 hour point of interest on the higher time frame, and yesterday we created some relative equal highs here. Um, so yesterday's trade, if we hadn't adjusted the stop and left it as is, we would have been stopped out by 1 point. But if the actual stop loss itself was, you know, given space for more room, just given more space, basically, literally, like we got stopped out by 1 point before a retest, and then price would have gone up and bagged take profit there, and actually gone and taken the previous daily high at the time. So that is interesting to me. I've discussed it with the AI and all of this. So this is now a factor into my trading going forward, which is very interesting because obviously the better prompts you give it, the more information it has, the more data it collects, the better it can help you. So with that in mind, we had these relative equal highs here. It wasn't quite a sweep. It was literally pretty much equal, maybe to the a couple ticks under or below. Not quite a point, but a couple ticks under or below. We also had the relative equal lows that didn't get swept yesterday, and instead price went for the internal liquidity here during the London session. So as you can see, we have quite a nice range to work in. So from here, we had this daily opening gap from the PM session yesterday, coming into well, going into the Asia session, and then price comes down towards the end of the week. So our three bullish targets. We've got the London high, we've got this opening gap, four bullish targets. We've got these relative equal highs and this higher time frame point of interest, which I am going to extend across for next week because it is going to be a target. It will be a target, no doubt. I've been saying that, and we're gradually getting there. Today, I think if we look at the 4 hour chart, we swept this low here. I wouldn't be surprised if on the daily chart we possibly come down into this imbalance, although it doesn't necessarily need to do that for a move to continue upwards. Right. So in terms of bearish draws on liquidity, we had these relative equal lows here. We had these relative equal lows here. And we also had, where was it? We had, it was across here. There was a fair value gap across here pretty much. And that was on hourly, I believe. Let me just take drawings off. So we had this imbalance here below the relative equal lows and below previous daily low as well. And yeah, so those were our bearish biases. And like I say, it was a bit unclear at the time I started my trading which way price could go. So like I say, I put these targets into the AI, and ultimately it helped me develop more of a bias for the day, just help clarify some of my questions. One of my main points of not concern, but like one of the main points that I noted was this imbalance created in the London session. Typically I would be targeting up here as like a draw, but the fact that London broke down below the Asia low and also yesterday's PM low, creating this imbalance, which was tested once right at the end of the session, and then 8:30 we traded back up, sweeping this wick here and filling this imbalance. So this was one of the drivers for bearish price action today. And so if we go into the 3 minute, so I think from 9:30, so this is the 9:30 candle here. Price traded up, and I was thinking, this could potentially be a break, but it wasn't valid at the time. And then price moved down on the 5 minute candle, creating a nice market structure shift, coming down a bit further. And at this point on the 3 minute, I got in. Where did we go? Let me just zoom in a little bit more. So that fair value gap was on the 1 minute, I believe. Just reset that. What chart was that on? Was that on the 15 minute? So I think this imbalance is this here, from the shift. So the initial entry should have been off this retracement, but as discussed with Copilot, this swing high was created. This swing high was created here, and I was waiting to see if price was gonna break below it or continue upwards to then bring us more towards a bullish trajectory rather than a bearish. And as you can see, price trades up and then comes down like that. It breaks down quite nicely. So I think my initial entry was, let me just check the time I got in, 10:48. Is that right? That's what it says on the broker statement. But that's not correct. So we'll go with 9:48, which looks about right. So yeah. So I think the initial move, I went short here, right? And then, no, 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 no. What was the initial move? So we got in at 25,518. So where's that? Where is that? 518. There. So pretty much we got in around here. Price moved down. And then what happened was, yeah, so it was around here that I got in on this candle here. Sorry. Got a bit confused there. And then we got this initial push down for this partial here. And then price retraced and the stop loss had been trailed at the time. And we got stopped out just below, just above the entry. So pretty much break even there. Like the overall trade was £20.94 profit and the stop loss was £4.93 after trailing it. So, you know, today could have been optimized a bit more. But that's now been put into Copilot. I'm going to be looking at, 15-minute swing high rather than a 5-minute swing high, depending on the type of leg that we're in. If we're in distribution, if we're in a continuation, like, do you know what I mean? So yeah, pretty much from this, price then moved down into our original target, and the original position was, I think, 3 units. So the original stop was 114 with the take profit at 357, and we ended up walking away with 16 quid today. So, it's not amazing. It's not bad. It's still green, but there is obviously some points that I'm going to have to work out with using AI and utilizing it within my trading, which has now been entered in and it has that data and we'll be collecting that. So from here, we can adapt and improve it going forward. But it was nice to see that this trade did actually play out. So if I hadn't moved the stop at all, we would have made £357, putting us up about 530 quid for the week. So that would have been a very, very lovely week. Nonetheless, let me just zoom this out a bit. Where are we going? Right, so this inverse fair value gap was something that I hadn't previously noticed. And as you can see, it comes all the way across from yesterday's inverse fair value gap, and that acts as the pullback point just before 10 o'clock, where we then see price move down from 10 o'clock to further take the previous daily lows, this red line here. So that would have been a nice trade. Nonetheless, it's something to learn from. It's still something that I'm going to adapt to, considering that this is my second trade utilizing AI. I am also aware that this wasn't my model. This wasn't my model today. So having that extra, voice in your ear, or not in your ear, but like that extra source or tool to discuss ideas and potential moves based off the current knowledge that I have and the current targets that I have set out, has allowed me to, look at potential setups today that I probably wouldn't have looked at in the past. So it's a bit of a balance. It's a bit of a balance between, sticking to my current model, which, since trading it in a live market hasn't been massively profitable due to the time that's often involved for it to play out from previous daily high to previous daily low, or previous daily low to previous daily high. And that is partially due to my personal psychology, impatience and fear of losing, that I have noticed that over the last few months hasn't really allowed me to execute it with the same precision that I have used during back testing. Another factor, just coming back to the trade, another factor that I did implement today was the news that we had. And, pretty much we didn't have any red folder news. So I was quite happy that today was going to be more like a price action based move rather than like a data driven move. So as you can see, price bounces off the inverse, trades back up, fills the imbalance, retests, rejects off this level here, which is the market structure shift, and then we see the breakdown from, well, off the inverse fair value gap or through it. Price then retraces back up into this and then makes its continuation all the way down towards 10, 20, 25 here. So yeah, just going to take a quick pause because this is a bit of a longer video. I can feel it's going to be a bit of a longer video because I've got a lot more I want to talk about. This will also be my weekly review, so we'll go through all my trades for the week. And yeah, so once I'd been stopped out, I was looking at this this push through the inverse fair value gap, and I was like, right, can we get another setup here? What we're going to do is we're going to draw back to my AI conversations. So eventually I got to the point where I just decided, right, we're just going to leave this for today. Take the minimal profit and just learn from it. So I think 15-minute current attached for context and whatnot. So as you can see here, I'm literally just going through with Copilot just different types of things, and it's bringing me information on like the market structure shifts and different highs and lows and the momentum of what's going on, reclaims of imbalances, the types of zones that I'm looking at. And yeah, it's very interesting how much information it just provides like that. Obviously, I sound like a fucking boomer talking like that. But yeah, I'm providing different time frames. So I think let's go £16 so far. Notice that we bounced off newly marked inverse fair value gap. Let me know your thoughts. Unfortunately, I can't actually open the screenshots, which isn't ideal. But from here, I was weighing up the options if a bullish market structure shift forms or if price continues down lower. Target deeper discounts 460, 423. So that 460, 423 range was, so this was where the targets would have been. You can see here we're on like what, 459, 460 there. So the entry, I was basically looking for a second entry in the 3-minute retracement of this here. But as I was typing to Copilot, price had just dropped a bit more. The target would have then been confirmed as a previous daily low of this entry, and that would have been very nice with the stop above the recent high and the inverse fair value gap. So yeah, that was one of the downsides, was price just moved too quickly for me to react in time, as well as taking into account my conversation with Copilot. So that's another takeaway as well. There will be like a delayed reaction. Yeah, there will just be like a delayed reaction time. And that's completely natural. It's completely understandable. And if I miss trades because of that, it's completely fine, because there's always going to be another trade. What's going on here? So we're now coming up towards this order block. So these were zones that I'd marked out in case of a possible, reversal from sweeping the previous daily low. I'm not gonna touch this now, this evening at least, just because it's the end of the week and price will probably stop around this sort of level, and then yeah, there's no point getting into a trade at this time, especially after taking one and almost taking another one today. But yeah, like I say, it's all very interesting. And I feel like going forward, as I improve the inputs and the answers that I get with Copilot, what I will be doing is using it as a tool to help me justify my decisions and my conviction within my trades, and ultimately just adapting my strategy around that so I can be more active in the market, but at the same time use my own judgment to confirm whether, should I be trading today? Is the type of price action at the moment optimal? Is it worth just sitting out? And yeah, like little things that it provides for me, like that I was previously lacking, where it would be like my model would be just like, inverse fair value gap above the previous daily low with a breaker structure and a fair value gap retracement to target previous daily high. It's not price doesn't always go to the other end of the daily range. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't always do that. So like even with yesterday's trades, having points for take profits marked out and justified using AI is so much more helpful, and it takes a lot more stress out of my decisions and just makes it much more simple for me to execute, feel comfortable with executing, and it lays out more of a plan for me to trade with rather than just having, blind faith in my back testing and my model, which ultimately like you should have, but if there's a way that I can improve that and learn from it so I can then personally identify these levels over time, then it just makes sense to use that. Do you know what I mean? It does make sense to utilize. And yeah, I mean, it's something that I will be looking at going forward. It just makes so much more sense. And, at the start of the week, I hadn't really anticipated that this would be the case. Um, Obviously, time will tell as I trade more whether this is worth doing and whether this is worth staying on, or whether I should just go back to my model. But at the end of the day, trading is based around your psychology and your personal management, your risk tolerance, and how you behave in real life. And for me personally, I find that I like to try a lot of different things. And then when I get good enough to a point where it's like, okay, I feel comfortably good at this, I know there's more that I can do here, but I feel like I've done enough on this at the moment. And I feel like, now that I'm at this sort of level, I'm happy to then go and do something else. And that's translated across my whole life, whether that's with music. I've got myself to a point where um, I'm happy with the standard of music I've made. The last album I released, I'm more than happy with the standard of the quality of music. My ability to freestyle, for example, I can now freestyle songs in one take. My job, even, like, I'm at a point in my job where I'm sort of happy with the level that I'm at for the pay that I'm receiving, my understanding that I have there, um, to then have like enough capital to also like reinvest into myself and into my trading and just focus more on that. Same with my qualifications at work. I reached a level where I had a few months like really grinding that out. And now that I've got that qualification, I can sort of relax. And again, it comes back into trading. I have more time to focus on that. Um, Given the fact that I will probably then go on to do the next level of my qualifications next year, now that some time has passed and I've had more time to, look into my trading a bit more, it makes more sense. Even in gaming, like, say on like Battlefield, I've reached level 100. And now that I've done that, I'm sort of content with the game. I've reached that point, and uh, I'm just happy to play it here and there rather than just being like constantly focused on grinding it out. Same with other games like Call of Duty, um, and you know the same thing. It happened in school as well. I got to my AS levels. I got the qualifications I needed, and I dropped out to go and work, to go do something else and focus on something else. Um, and as I've been trading over the last few years, this has only made itself apparent to me. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, this is something that is, what's the word? Consistent throughout all areas of my life. Like, I'll get to like a certain standard where I'm happy with it. And once I'm at that standard, then I know that I am capable of doing it. And if I want to proceed further and I want to improve more, then yeah, no doubt I can. Um, and that translates directly into the charts. It's like for example, with these trades or my model initially, sorry, this is a bit of a longer video. It's getting a bit more into the psychology of it. But like for the model, it's like previous daily low to previous daily high, previous daily high to previous daily low. Yeah. So that's holding it all the way through the trade and all the way through the daily range, sometimes over multiple days and intraday. Um, Whereas in terms of my risk and the way that I think, I'm constantly looking at different options and different ideas. So when I'm in a trade, I tend to, evaluate both sides, and then I spend so much time evaluating due to the time that I'm actually in the trade that it then creates this like sense of, oh, I should be doing something else here rather than my initial idea. And ultimately, that then leads to me not executing my plan properly, which I suppose is the whole point of trading. Like, you're meant to have your plan and just trade it. So, long tangent there, but bringing it all back into, optimizing AI into my trading and my decision making, having that extra voice of reason to be like, right, this is the levels that you're going to put your take profits, and as the trade moves down, you're going to trail your stop, reduce your risk, and it's all very systematic. And it's something that has clicked literally in the last couple of days since using it, where it is like, oh, like it makes so much more sense for me to trade like that rather than just relying on, this analysis. And like, no doubt, like, I've had trades that have completely run my model. um but if we look back, like, I've got video evidence of all my trades that I've taken over the last few months, and if we look back, maybe, two or three of these trades have actually run all the way to take profit in line perfectly with my model. And the rest of the profits have been like, partial closures, or I avoid losses by trimming the stop and then get stopped out. And then, just little things like that where it's like my results are being altered and the model is not being optimized because of my personal psychology and risk tolerance. And yeah, I mean, it's such like it might seem like so obvious if you're watching this now. It might seem like super, super obvious that that is the case and this is how you're meant to trade. Um, but when you're risking your life funds, and this is like what you work for every day, you work so you can have like a portion of your savings, you can have a portion of your investments, your wants, um, and for me personally, like, I make an all right amount. I don't make like hundreds of thousands. Do you know what I mean? I'm not like up in the six-figure category. I'm just like trying to put as much as I can into different pots to build these pots up. And especially with trading, you have to be cautious, because if you're not doing it correctly, like, you can't optimize your results, because one, the markets are rigged against you. You can't beat the market 100% of the time. Like, every single person takes losing trades, and there's no avoiding that. Two, you know, how many years of experience and how much work, or how many years of experience do you actually require to figure this all out and have it written down? How much time, how many hours do you need to put in? How many hours do I need to put in? How much back testing am I doing? How much data am I collecting? You know, how much time does that take? And it takes a long time. Like, I've been doing this for, well, if I talk about day trading specifically, I've been doing day trading specifically for maybe like, well, on a live account alone, a year. But like, I've dabbled in, put a couple grand in a live account, copy trade someone else, signals. Like, that doesn't work. Like, you don't have the same psychology as that person. You don't have all the analysis. You're literally just following blindly their word, and you can't manage your risk accordingly. Um, Again, with copy trading, if you actually have your account connected to someone else's copy trading, it's based on their account size across all the accounts that are copying it. So you just get like your account blown like that. Like, do you know what I mean? So that doesn't work either. At least in my experience and the people that I've worked with on that sort of stuff. So with live trading, you are the one responsible for it. Granted, if I'm including AI in my analysis, I'm not completely responsible for it, but I am also the one responsible for the prompts that I put in, the information I provide it, how I manage the trade personally, how I manage my time, how I manage my mental. And I think over the years, the most important thing, and I think any other trader that's profitable will tell you the exact same thing. The most important thing is you. It's like Kung Fu Panda when he becomes a dragon warrior and he opens a scroll and it's just him, it's blank. It's you, how you react in the markets. And going off all of that, it's a lot that I've just said and it's a bit of a rant that I've gone on. But, you know, going off all of that, it is becoming ever more apparent to me that I need to adapt more to tailor to my needs and my mental and myself. And, what I'm trying to say is, I think over time, this is going to be the way forward for me as I adapt my strategy with the knowledge that I have at this point. Over time, as my knowledge increases, some of the feedback you get from this, it would be like, right, so certain candles and certain time frames, they tend to do this. They sweep earlier. What like NYAM loves to create a false leg first. 9:30 to 10 is notorious for sweeping early longs slash shorts, running into a discount premium zone, then reversing the real direction of the move in the hour. Um, and then it provides what happened, what to then do there. So just tiny little insights like that you wouldn't, unless you're writing everything down, you wouldn't be able to pick that up unless you have the actual experience or you're a fucking superhuman. Like, do you know what I mean? It just makes sense to utilize this going forward. And I am looking forward to doing so. Um, and yeah, what I will be doing is, uh, I asked it to generate me a spreadsheet of the results that I've had this week since trading, the types of trades, um, the positions that I've had. Granted, I got my broker statement where I can look at like my balance and my trades for the week, month, year, whatever on the day, my P&L and all that. What I'm gonna be doing going forward, I was talking to myself in the car on the way home, was um, I want to create one spreadsheet for this year. Granted, I'm going to be down on the year. Most likely, I'm going to be red this year, and it's my first year live trading properly after doing my. I did the ICT 2022 model, and that's like 40 episodes, and then I did a little bit of live trading, and then I was unprofitable there, and then I stepped away and I did 3 months of demo trading where I was profitable. I've then come into the start of the year just sort of taking like random trades, um, just that I'd picked up just from little nuggets of information of what I'd learned. And then, midway through the year, I did like I used FX Replay to find myself a new model, and even at the start of my back testing on that, I was still just sort of picking random trades here and there, coming back to it, going away, trading live, coming back to demo trading. And then I found my model where, you know, I then put that in place whilst back testing, and over the course of a year of uh, demo price action, like market replay, I was profitable a decent amount. And it was obviously apparent, like, you on the back testing, I was trading like what was I trading? 200K balance. Um, so it's like 1% of that is like what, $2,000. Like, do you know what I mean? And you walk away with like what, 40, 50 grand after a year. So, funded accounts have also crossed my mind, but I think if I can grow this organically and I can grow it on a live account, just adding every month I get paid, over time it'll all compound, it'll all come through. Um, and that has ultimately led me to this point here, you know, to where I'm now at a stage where it's like, right, I've been trading this live. It's not working completely the way that I want it to work and the way that I know it should work. Why? Me. Me executing the trades. My mental. My psychology. Right. So from there, what do we look at? How do I think? How do I assess my risk? What am I scared of? And for me personally, fear of loss is scary. From the events that I've been through in my life, you know, losing family members, relationships, different houses and stuff, like going from place to place, well, not place to place, but like within my family life, like different houses that I've lived at over the times. Um, and like it all compounds, it, like, even if you don't necessarily realize it, you have to actually sit and think. Maybe not like directly sit and think about it, but like you have to be aware of these sorts of things, you know especially now that I'm going to be 25 next year. I believe is it the frontal lobe, like you, as a man, like your brain fully develops around 20, between like 23 and 25 years old. So now that my brain is at sort of at that stage, I've noticed little shifts where it's like I can't do that like I used to be able to do it. I can't do this like I used to be able to do it, but I now think like this and I prioritize this because it's more important. Like even little things like, at the gym, whereas a few years ago I'd be purely on strength and hypertrophy. Now it is like, you know, right, I've got this sort of ailment. What can I do to improve that? Such as, like, hip mobility or something like that. I'm now thinking about these little sorts of things that I wouldn't really take into consideration. I just wasn't aware of. Um, so it's only right that I take my trading the same way. I think like I say, it's just generally sort of crept up over time where I am sort of now thinking like, right, there's something else here that isn't clicking, you know? When you trade, your results are a reflection of your mind and they are a reflection of you and your discipline. So, yeah, this is definitely a much longer video, but if you can take away something from this for your trading and in your life, then great. Like, do you know what I mean? But ultimately, this is me just getting everything out just so I can adapt and, like, ideally improve my position, my profitability, because at the end of the day, that's why we get into this. And people learn at different rates. I'm sure a few people watching this have already gone through this and they're like, yeah, now he gets it. Like, do you know what I mean? Now he's starting to get it. Few people pick it up after like a few months, maybe not a few months, but like a year or two. This has taken me multiple years of like failures and lack of success doing this to start, well, at least make a start on picking up different things that I probably hadn't thought about before, just because I didn't have the experience on the charts. I didn't have the experience in the markets. And by the way, this is no means me saying that I know everything. No, it isn't. And I'm not claiming to. I'm just venting my thoughts and my psychology um, within this video to progress and improve. And that's literally it. If it helps you, then fine. If it doesn't, then fine. This is my trading journal here on this channel. Like, this is where I do it all. I don't write my trades down. I used to, um, but just having it in a video format where, like, you can either watch it or you can listen to it is just so much more helpful for me personally. And much more efficient as well. Like, I wouldn't be able to write all of this down in one go because I wouldn't be able to, I'd just forget things, or I wouldn't go off on the tangents that I would normally go off. I'll go, yeah, you know what I mean? But yeah, I think that's I think that's a lot for this video, and I am quite glad that I did it. Um, But yeah, like I say, this is no means me saying that I know everything. This is like just the very like I'm just scratching the surface on like different things to consider going forward, and just adapting my strategy and optimizing my entries, optimizing my risk management, optimizing my exits, optimizing the days that I trade, and my strategy. Like, do you know what I mean? It just makes sense to do so. And if I don't put in this work and I don't identify these sorts of things, especially I think having it in one video as well is helpful. Say if I'm listening back to it, having it in one video where I am just going off on all these things, like it is going to be helpful, and it's a bit of knowledge for me and learning. It's all learning. It's the same with life. Life is learning. It's all experience and how you adapt to it. But yeah, so getting back to the fucking charts, Johnny. Do you know what I mean? Getting back to the fucking charts. What are we looking at for next week? Right? So on the 4 hour time frame, we have come down into this here. I'm looking at this zone here around 24,972. On the daily chart, 24,972 is around this imbalance here. We do have this wick, so it might be the case that we are just sweeping this low here before continuation up. It might be the case that price moves down towards this before the move up. I don't see price, you know, coming down another fucking, what is that, 300, 500, 1,000, 1,500 points. I don't see that happening. It just doesn't make sense for price to do that, especially after sweeping this low here, trading into this imbalance, and we see this bounce. Unless, of course, we do have the fucking AI bubble, which has got a lot of speculation around it. But I just don't think the US government would allow that to happen. And if they did, it would be seriously bad. So, you know, with the way that they can do quantitative easing and the way that they can manipulate the news and the decisions, like the same way that there's fucking insider trading with like tariffs and all of this, like it's so blatantly obvious that this is what's going on. um I just don't think that they would allow the markets to drop like that unless it was for their benefit. um you know what I mean? Like, you look at, what is this, Feb 25, that was all the tariffs when what Trump came into office. You know, it's just to sweep out these lows here. All of that political bollocks is just to take these lows here for them to fucking load up on longs and go and make a shit ton of money. That's all it is. Like, you look at the monthly chart, the same thing happened 2021. Yeah, like 2021, this was around the COVID pandemic. It's just fucking sweeping out the lows and filling the imbalance, mate. Do you know what I mean? Look at that. Since then, 10,000. That's 3 years ago. The price is now at like what, 25? 25,301. 15,000 points over 3 years. Like, do you know what I mean? And these guys are fucking billionaires. They've got, like, you look at asset managers like BlackRock and stuff like that. They got trillions of dollars under management. I think BlackRock alone is like $13 trillion of assets under management. They're fucking going long on that shit. Like, do you know what I mean? They're holding that and they're making bags off it. It's a game of capitalism, mate. It's like in the Wolf of Wall Street. Fuck the clients. Move the money from your client's pocket into your pocket. You know what I mean? Anyway, this is getting very political now, but it's also, I've discussed all this other shit, so I may as well just go into this whilst I'm here, just because the video is getting long, and this will just be one of the longer videos. This will probably be, looking back at this will probably be one of my favorite videos of the year from starting these trade recaps and these market recaps. I just feel like, today is one of the days where I identified something and realized something that I'd been missing for a long time. And yeah, anyway, so if we go into next week, I'm ultimately looking for price to either rebound off of this sweep here, or we continue down into this imbalance to then get the liquidity to come target this higher time frame point of interest, and then eventually move up to all-time highs as fucking usual. Like, you look at the markets, it's what they do. It's what they do. They go to all-time highs. Obviously, granted, no AI bubbles pop or whatever the fuck. Like, do you know what I mean? No fucking world economy crashing. Like, but yeah, with all that being said, we had two trades today. Well, one trade today, and trailed the stop. That got stopped out. I was looking for another entry. Price moved way too, well, not way too quickly. Price moved quicker than I could react, and I didn't get in. I was looking for a reversal here, which, you know, possibly could be a reversal going into next week. But yeah, price retraced, rejected off the previous daily low, and continued further down lower. At that point, I did say that is enough. And as you can see here, that is evidenced with my conversation. Okay, confirm no break above previous daily low. Let's leave it for the week and come back on Monday. Execute with discipline, precision, trail your logic. NLY plus. Nothing like yesterday. Always improve, always strive to be better than you were. Do you know what I mean? Because that's the only way you're going to get better. If you don't identify, you don't grow. You don't grow, you don't move forward. So, yeah, that is my P&L on the day, £16.1. So you've just listened to a lovely long video about me making 16 beats. But yeah, on the current week, we go to that. We're up £149.20 there at the bottom. That's my realized P&L on a week. And yeah, it's not bad. Not bad. So we'll take it. Lots of stuff to learn, lots of stuff to take away. And, you know, just a note to myself, I'm going to keep the description on this video very short because I've talked and talked and talked. So, yeah, I think we're going to end it here. Overall, up in the week, up on the day. For the month, actually, you know what? We'll check the month as well. We'll check the month whilst we're here. Current month, up 40 quid for the current month, £39.36. And that was because of a couple, you know, negative trades, which I've discussed in further previous videos. So yeah, that's going to be me. Have a great weekend. You know, enjoy it, relax. Markets reopen on Monday. We'll come back to it then. I will be utilizing AI going forward into next week, adapting my strategy. I've said it fucking 400 times this video. This is what I'm doing. And I think the reason why I was so against it was because I was like, oh, I have to stay to my strategy. I have to do this. Yeah, I do. But at the same time, I've been trading my strategy for like 4 or 5 months and I'm unprofitable. So fucking something's got to change here. Otherwise, we're not going to adapt and we're not going to grow. So yeah, trade smart, trade safe, remain nothing like yesterday. You can't. And enjoy the day.